my alma mater, and this is time number 3. If you include the Waterville Valley, it's time number 4, and I can't thank Professor Nadeau and his staff and everything that they're doing. So just a round of applause back to the So I am a 19, I forget the year I graduated. Well, that's a bad start already. I think it's 87, but don't hold me. That's either 86 or 87, one of those 2 years. And they did not have this as a course offering. So I would have had no idea if this is the profession I wanted to get into. And what's interesting about that is selling, if you include retail salespeople and take some minor worries, is guess what? I believe anyways, the number 1, if worst case, number 2 profession in all the world. And for years, throughout my corporate world and into my training world, I have been asking so many friends, why can't you go to school for this profession? So many people do it. It is a science. There is a craft and a skill to it. And then everybody thinks that you're either born to do it, or raise your hand if you've heard somebody they're a born salesperson by show of hands. That has no truth to it whatsoever. Another famous one you hear is somebody's a type A personality. Anyone ever heard if you're type A and you're bubbly, you must be good in sales? That has nothing to do with it. So I just think it's the day I spoke to Professor Nadeau about a year and a half ago, I just told him it's about time that universities finally support and offer a curriculum around such a great profession. Right? So I'm honored to be in front of you today. All right? So, my name again, Stephen Pia, P-I-A. Pia stands for pain in the... If you can't tell already, I speak broken English. I'm from Boston. I decided about 14 years ago, I just made an executive decision in my life. I'm going to put my R's any place I feel like. So that for every 5 words I use, you're not going to have a clue what the heck I'm talking about. So for every 4 to 5 words, try to figure out and try to stay on. Right? This will prove to you if I can be in professional sales the way I speak, anybody can be in professional sales. Okay? The founder of Coach Media, and I'll get more into that in just a second. So quickly, session overview, open and introduction, and then I was thinking that perhaps we would do, and I know, I get it, top 10 lists are so 15 years ago, so be it. Crucify me now. I decided why not do a top 10 list of skills or attributes of what it takes to be great in this profession. Because I said to Professor Nadeau, I think part of people coming to this curriculum, and I'm going to take a vote here in a second, people are trying to figure out, is this a profession I want to get into? And I think when you make a choice in life, part of that choice is understanding the ingredients of that profession. So that's my goal tonight, is to share with you the ingredients at a top level, top line, of what it takes to be great. Hopefully some of you, I'll nudge you over further this way for sales, and there might be a few of you like, you know what, thanks but no thanks. In either case, that's a win. Okay? And then we're going to reserve some time at the end for an open Q&A and review learning moments. Raise your hand if you've been in one of my sessions before by show of hands. So you now know you have that we always review learning moments. It's just a staple that if you're going to spend time with me instructing you, you're going to learn something. And if you don't, I will stay here until midnight tonight until you learn at least one thing. And I think sometimes the best way for people to learn is from other people in the room. And you might have been half asleep when I mentioned something or somebody mentioned something. So take good notes. At the end, we're going to aggregate a bunch of learning moments. We good? All right, so who are you? It's a question I get asked. I have 14 years of sales and sales management experience, all of which were at a company called Ziff Davis Publishing. I launched the company in 2000. I have a passion for teaching and coaching. I live in the Boston area 9 months a year, married to 2 girls that are actually, they just turned 15, 13. Outdated. Good thing they're not here. I live in New Hampshire 3 months of the year, on Lake Winnisquam. I'm a New England Patriots fan. Anybody here a Patriots fan? Yeah. How about the Kronk? And of course, for those that have been through my session before, I have to talk about my dog, Olive, the love of my life. My 14-pound cockapoo. So that's as much as we will talk about myself and I. One last slide on the company. It's called Coach Media. Again, we pride ourselves in training and one-on-one coaching. We offer assessment services, training, coaching, consulting, and about 15,000 professionals that I've trained from Stockholm to Dubai to Amsterdam to London to Hawaii and gosh, everywhere else in the States. Currently working with Yelp and AOL and LinkedIn and Apple, just to name a few of the roster of clients. I specialize a little bit in the media, digital media landscape, which many of you, given your generation, I'm sure are familiar with. Any other questions about moi? Fantastic. Again, we're going to review those learning moments at the end. Please take note. Write down when you learn something. Now, question for the room. Raise your hand if you have already made the decision that the world of professional sales is for you and you can't wait to get the ball rolling and start making some money. All right, about a third. How many of you are on the fence? And how many of you know you're not going to do it, but you are smart enough to recognize that this skill set will serve you well no matter what you do in life? Okay, great. So I'd say it's about 35% trains on the tracks, about another probably 35–40% on the fence, and about 15% of you know that this is just a great skill set to have. That's great. All right, so how did I get into training and coaching? Professor Nader wanted me to speak to this. It's a pretty boring story, actually. It's legal to laugh at these things, right? I do these for free until you all laugh, and then I get, for every yuck, for every time you laugh, it goes up. And you can laugh, even when I'm not funny, laugh. So, passion for teaching and coaching. I just knew in high school and in college I wanted to be a teacher and a coach. Except something happened. I had a traumatic event in my life. Anybody want to guess what that traumatic event was? Anybody like to paint? Does anybody detest painting more than I? Raise your hand if you detest painting more than I do. Who likes to paint? Wow, can't stand to paint. My father and I have a certain amount of things in common. One major thing is both of us hate to paint. So I was riding my bike home, senior in high school, already realizing I wanted to be teacher and a coach, right? Whatever, phys ed teacher, math teacher, right? Couldn't wait to be there. Baseball coach, basketball coach, a lot of hoops, right? Basketball coach, soccer, whatever. And I'm riding home and I see my coaches painting this gorgeous house. And my first instinct was like, wow, I even want to teach and coach even more. Which one of my coaches owns this piece of property? And I got off my bike and I said hi to my coaches. I said, oh, it's beautiful. Wow, which one owns? Who owns the house? And I hear that. All of them get off the ladder. They come and look at me and they go, what did you just ask? Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. I said, which one owns the whole beautiful house? They go, are you nuts? We don't get paid anything. Yeah, we get some summers off. We get paid nothing. And they were like, and I'm sitting there going, not that money's everything, but I mean, it's like, so I go back on my bike and it's like my whole world got turned upside down. It's like, I don't want to paint. I don't want to. And every one of you is going to have an epiphany. It just happens. I know it is a strange truth, it's weird, but it's true. And I'm like, that's not happening. So for years, I got into the professional ranks. I ended up choosing sales. The fact of the matter is I stumbled into it like most people do. Well, less people now because you have a curriculum like this. I didn't have this. I stumbled into it. But never. There was this flicker in my belly. And what was that flicker in my belly, that fire? It always told me I wanted to do what? teacher and a coach. That's the sad reality. Who said make money? That should have been the answer. Right? But you'll learn in life that money's not everything. And so really what you do every day is everything. And so it was teach and coach. And so I was riding home from work one night in my car. Again, epiphany number 2, separated by only 14 years. That's a big gap. And I'm like, oh my God, you gotta be, it just hits you like it's like, I can actually go out and teach and coach. I can go be a sales trainer and a coach. That's teaching and coaching, isn't it? So I got so excited, if I had a tail, if you were near me, your knees would have been bruised. Right? So the tail starts to wag, and for 2 years I built my content, I went on my own, it's the best decision I've ever made. So those things happen in life. You can follow your dreams, follow your passions, and it can actually end up, right, being in the field that you want. Right? So part of, I think, with selling, I think a lot of people I talk to today, they're in sales, they want to be in sales, but they're not in a market they want to be in. Like, I'm a technology person, I want to be in the tech market, or I really like finance, I want to be in the... So part of what a lot of professional salespeople struggle with is I'm in sales, but I'm not in a market that really jazzes me. These aren't the products that I want to be in a market that I actually read on, I talk to my friends about, like a market that I enjoy. Does anybody like know what I'm talking about? Like you already know a market that you'd love to sell into, such as what?
Skateboarding.
Say what?
Skateboarding.
Skateboarding. Right? So you might get into sales one day, not skateboarding, but hopefully that will always stay true, and at some point you're going to get in that market where it's skateboarding. It might be right off the bat, but you might have to go go work someplace else to get that knowledge and that skill set of just selling and that experience, right? Anybody else have something, a market that they just...
ExxonMobil, oil.
There you go, right? So again, that you should start, this is the time to rally around what kind of marketplace, especially for those that already know they want to get in sales. Okay, I know I want to get in, what kind of marketplace do I want to work in? And start angling towards that. Because you will be happier and you will be better if you're in a market that you enjoy. That doesn't mean you can't go work for another market you don't know anything about and end up falling in love with that market. That happens all the time. It happened to me. I was in the technology media market. I had no idea. I had no clue about going into that. I just got in it and I fell in love with it. Okay? All right. So, top 10 skills required for professional selling, attributes, skills. Right? The first one I would say is more attributes. Number 1, just having the right attitude and mindset. Most salespeople are doomed right from the start. Why is that?
Their mindset.
They lack what?
Positive mindset.
They lack confidence, right? They feel like they're doomed from the get-go. It's the sales are down. We're defeated before we ever go into the client or prospect's office, or before we ever pick up the phone, or before we ever send an email. We're just done. So you have to have the right mindset. And it can be a really good mindset, right? So the first part of the mindset is defining what selling is. What is selling? I have the stupidest, corniest definition you'll ever see in your life out there. And there's no right or wrong answers, by the way, with any of these questions I ask. There are only different answers. I repeat, there are no right or wrong answers in this profession. There are just different answers. Anybody want to say what the definition of selling is? Please.
Solves a problem.
Solve the problem. Very good. Anybody else? Please.
Creating value.
Creating value. Oh, stay on. There's a word in that I love. Anybody want to take a guess?
Value.
Ah, yes. Yes, in fact, let's go right from that to the stupid corny definition. Are you ready? The process of negotiating with your client's value meter. The process of negotiating with your client's value meter. What do you think we mean when we say client's value meter? What does that mean to you? Sitting there listening to me and looking at that slide.